campus English program is a kind of requirement of the day. You see, you have about 3,000 students in a campus, and the nation's need is all the 3,000 people, if they have communication power, especially in English language with business English, and then they must also be aware about all the soft skills required for that. And it's like, more than functional skills today, soft skill is taken into great respect and consideration by all the multinationals who have come into this country. Implementing soft skill inside a campus, I can see there are certain Christian institutions where the campus itself will give them the language. That means it's an academic environment which gives the language more than anything. And I was also analyzing the disabilities of the students and the limitations of the institution, the time management of the student and the teacher. These were all like very, very complex. And the students are taught how to read, how to write, how to listen also, but how to hear, I can say. They are not listening inside the classroom today because the last benchers will not be able to listen to the teacher's voice. That's one major drawback in implementing good education inside the classroom. So these are all, problems and disabilities. So I just have to analyze the whole fact. So I didn't start off with my business venture straight away. I thought first, let me put my mind into a detailed study of the psychology of the institutions, first of all, who are responsible to give, jobs with employability, assurance, and they have to give courses with employability assurance. And this, this is like they are finding it like various methods, and none of these methods are, proven, or it is standard, or there's no corporate company to introduce something which is required for the corporate, human resource itself. So I thought, all my experience in various fields in this world, I thought I'll put it down and jot down and see that I'll dedicate myself to create the best soft skills in any human being, given a chance. And the challenge became more complex by understanding the various levels of the students. If you understand, if you go in for a village, you have 100% vernacular environment. And if you go in for a town, you have a different kind of mixture. And place to place, the slangs were different, even if they can talk in English. And this is not just fluency which we are trying to give. When we talk about soft skill, first of all, they must have fluency with neutral accent. They must have flawless grammar, They must have fantastic power of vocabulary. And they must know how to express, Basically, if they don't know how to express, it's not going to really work out, All these, so learning a language reading a book, you cannot learn a language to speak especially. And I found like most of the people can write, but they cannot talk. Because talking exercise is not at all there. And all the inputs, I analyzed and saw the existing students' inputs, it's all vernacular. It's Tamil channel, Tamil movie, Tamil songs, or Telugu or Kannada, or we live in India where we have about 120 languages. And they are all comfortable in their own language. And at home, most of them have their mother tongue, and mother tongue is not English. So these are all the real problems for me to consider implementing a kind of soft skill in any of these groups of people in our whole country. So the complex is we have to give English, we have to give soft skills, but we have to give English and soft skills to a very large group of people. It has to be done on a time-bound action because they have only 3 years inside the campus, and at least when they finish their graduation, they must be able to get the job. So the task is very challenging. I like the challenge, first of all. Let me think about it seriously. Limitations of the student, their background is from vernacular medium. They don't have exposure to talk in English. They don't have exposure to practice English, either writing or reading almost 99% of the students, I can say, they have dyslexia, they have reading disability. If at all you are going to enforce a knowledge through reading, it's very difficult today. And reading their textbook itself is a big deal for them. 20 years back, parents were encouraging students to not only read their textbooks, a lot of storybooks were given. No diversion. Today, video or channel or TV, you have excellent diversions. So, the students do not know the basic culture of study. They do not know how to study. So, my challenge starts from educating them how to study. And then, should I teach them English or should I teach them how to learn English? So, it's like, what are all the other institutions doing? They all have fantastic teacher who's very good in English, of course. Spoken English is great, is very impressive, is inspiring. But he starts teaching grammar. In a spoken English class, teaching grammar is something which is not related. So these are the flaws in the teaching methodologies which I found. The psychology of the student, if you take the positive part of it, they are very, very eager to learn. Okay, the eagerness to learn amongst our country youngsters, it's excellent. They are very eager to learn because they really want to come up in their life. They are serious about their future. So they are not chuma, they are not wasting their time inside the college. They want the result to be ready to spend more money. But are we assuring them employability? If at all we are going to assure them employability, what is the value of the job which they are going to get? If they know English, they'll get, say, about from 3,000 to they may get about 6,000 if they have fluency level. If he's going in for marketing job, he's straight away getting 10,000 rupees with very good fluency. If he's got command level, then his salary goes up to 15,000 rupees. If he's professional, that is, if he's able to draft agreement and negotiate professionally, and he's able to fine-tune the details required for the company, he's able to put in the minutes of the meeting. These are all professional skills. He's paid more. But all these skills are basically focused on English. If you are going to talk about anger management, it's going to be anger management with the client who's outside this country, who's going to talk to you in English. If it's going to be emotion management, it's going to be emotion management within your own organization where it's going to be an English environment. If it's going to be knowledge management, if at all you're going to propagate your knowledge in English, you're going to show your value. And with that value, you have more, prospective jobs and career. So all these, soft skills and other skills, whatever you say, it all starts from a very good English communication power. Let's analyze the limitations or the kind of teachers we have. We have very good teachers, but the teacher come from, they are not native speakers. And the demand in the corporates today have they need fluency with neutral accent. They are very particular about their accent. And they need students who can understand American slangs. 15,000 rupees is not given just like that. Like how students used to learn Visual Basic, Fortran, or all these programming languages, they have to learn how to program themselves to talk to people. Indians have been an expert, in programming themselves to program or to communicate with a lifeless machine. But today, the challenge is different. From information age, we are entering into a communication age. Okay, and the communication age is like, it's just begun. And if you can talk well, you can make your money. Imagine Microsoft, Bill Gates. It all took only one person or one company for him to convince to take his idea of giving an operating system for the future. And Microsoft, Bill Gates was not even ready with the source code or the product. He just had the design in the mind. It is his communication power. At that point of time, he convinced IBM to take his operating system as a standard, and he became a millionaire. Today he is the richest guy. Today, and once you are very good in conveying to take the maximum value, your value increases and you know how to get the best out of others. So this is what is the power of communication. If you can communicate your ideas successfully to anywhere in this world, tomorrow your student can they can finish their degree and they can go in for a venture capital, they can go in for their own enterprise, they can go in for a job. All the option needs nothing but a very commanding English communication. Thank you. Another good example I can give as far as to demonstrate the power of communication is a single draft which was designed by Mahatma Gandhi to quit India movement is a historic draft. The power of communication, made the Britishers think about it very seriously. Okay, so Quit India Movement draft, I think every individual have to go through it. It's a fantastic draft which really made the Britishers think about vacating this country and giving this country independence. So it's all about power of communication, and every individual must acquire this skill. This is a very ambitious vision. I want to plan for a mass learning process. I wanted to see that we wanted to implement homogeneous learning process. Okay, let me analyze the kind of teachers we have today. Basically, their knowledge on computers is lacking behind. Their knowledge on utilizing internet and communication to implement education is lacking behind. Not only here around the world, it's lacking. The technology is really going very fine, but the ability to adapt that technology into the educational system is lacking behind. Methodologies are all, that's 50 years old. 50 years back, the world was different. The vocabularies were different. The need was different. Whereas the education system hadn't had much of revolution in a system where it has to adapt to more later technology. So this is not matching. That's what I found. Still the teachers teaching from the blackboard, and the students are there. 60-70 students are crowded inside the classroom. At the end of the program, at least 15 students would have really attended the classroom. So what is the value of this student-teacher relationship inside a classroom without attention? So ultimately, the specifications and the limitations of a teacher is the teacher cannot shout and give a homogeneous progress of knowledge implementation inside a classroom. The teacher is not aware of later technologies to bring into the classroom to enable the students. Students has got all the disabilities, dyslexia is one of the common, and the next thing is the mind gets drifted away in about 7.5 minutes inside the classroom. So whether you're going to teach English or you're going to teach science, history and geography or whatever it is, it's going to be for only 7.5 minutes. After that, only 10 to 15% of the students are fully attentive, and their attention ratio is also only up to 65 to 70. And if somebody has got 100% attention ratio, I think he's special. Let's not talk about him. We are only talking about students with disabilities, and our challenge is to see that they overcome their disabilities. Let us take the most difficult problems so that the solution is going to be fantastic. So this is how I analyze the problems. Then I also went into the other part of the teaching profession. I studied Indian teachers, their functional knowledge, their arithmetic knowledge, the mathematical knowledge, the grammar knowledge, the logical knowledge, everything is excellent. The knowledge, the teaching style, the methodology, everything is okay, traditional. But how far it is reaching our students? How far they are able to bring in result? And especially for communication, the teachers talk, the students listen. I would say they hear, they don't listen, because their concentration is not there after 7.5 minutes. And then they ask the students to write, they ask the students to read, and reading is the only time when the student listens to a word to his, sensitive ears, because ultimately language learning, is inbuilt with listening. And they have to listen to their own voice. If they don't listen to their own voice, they are not going to build confidence within themselves. And they must be able to talk fluently on any scenario, on any instant, on any topic, on any information they want to give about. Well, these are all, the kind of situations the students were facing. And we are going to enhance these people with the teachers of certain skills lacking behind. The task is like to give way or solution to all these problems. Okay. Teachers, student interaction. Ultimately, if it is going to be interactive, it is going to be very user friendly. So ultimately, inside a classroom, an interactive learning process has to be encouraged as a system, and this system will help them or give opportunity for the students to talk about whatever they feel about the subject. It will also increase the concentration of the student. So first of all, an interactive system is a very proven system around the world. In top colleges and schools, they have already adapted interactive learning system. And they even have interactive whiteboard so that the students can interact from wherever they are with wireless systems. Let's not think about too complicated hardware, especially in India, and let's not think about too complicated software also, because we know the limitations of our teacher. Teachers are very good in their functional implementation process, but they lack computer knowledge, they lack internet knowledge, and it has to be given on a phased manner. So, but the requirement in the industry is like, if you want, you can ask any corporate companies who are growing very fast, how many people you need. They'll say they need 400 people. And when do you want them? I want them yesterday. And what is their specification? First the specification, they'll start off with fluency in English, command level professional business skills, and then understanding international English. That means the student must be able to, or the candidate must be able to understand British English. They must be able to understand and listen and reply for American slangs and English, Australian, New Zealand, Canada, and Asian, European, and German talks English in a different way. So the candidate or the people who are sourced must have an exposure to almost all the English. You have a variety of English, so that they are very confident in their job. So the task became more and more complicated in trying to accumulate the soft skills and fine-tuning the soft skills required for them. Finally, like kind of specification was drawn. Okay, I must design a kind of hardware. The hardware must be very user friendly. The teacher must be able to operate it in just a half an hour or 1 hour. Most interesting content has to be provided as a solution to implement a very standard methodology. Like that, I started working on various specification, and I jotted down, say about 2 years back it was done, and the specification of the hardware was like, basically the hardware was, it was very ambitious. It has to integrate all the audio visual content available in VCD or DVD or MPEG-4, whatever format, if it is available, they must be able to bring that content into the classroom. The teacher must be able to have a kind of a very simple mechanism where they can bring in important content. So that was one of the, and this content, basically I thought it has to be from video or audio visual. We can say from audio visual to only audio and cassette media or tape media. It has to be multimedia. That's what but it must not have a computer, so it must have a dedicated kind of operation. The objective is it has to integrate all the media, so that content from various levels, contents of various levels from various sources can be integrated inside the classroom. The teacher must be able to talk to the students. The student must be able to talk to the teacher, so that a concentrated interactive system is there. See, learning a language, like initially the teacher or somebody can inspire them. Okay, they can just be inspired and their enthusiasm will be, in the highest level initially. But as days goes on, it deteriorates. Step by step it goes down. Basically because they get used to something which is very interesting and next day it is not interesting. You always wanted things to be exciting. You want it to be fantastic for you. Every day you want something new, so that your concentration is very high. How are we going to adapt educational technology, integrating all this, and more than everything, I want the teacher to whisper in every student's ears. I want the students to listen, not hear. That means 100% concentration of the student must be controlled by the teacher. The enthusiasm must be invoked and maintained till the student reaches the goal. It is very, 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 ambitious. It's a typical high-tech classroom. If I am going to bring in content from, language source, then it is going to be language lab. If it's going to be content where I'm going to have science information, it's going to be science audiovisual enhanced lab. It's all fine. The specification is done. The design has been, ambitiously written off. And what is it going to give? This is a kind of hardware. Okay, with all this, I didn't want them to have clumsy wires, because the wires are not user friendly, So it has to be wireless. To consolidate the hardware, my specification is like this. A hardware which has to be very user friendly for the teachers. A hardware which has to be simple in nature, cost effective. It has to integrate all the content available in different media. For example, it can be available in video format in CD, or it can be in MP3 or DVD, whatever, for multi-format compatible. And all the sound has to be integrated. The teacher must be able to talk to the student must be able to talk to the teacher. More than that, the teacher must be able to whisper in every student's ears, so that a homogeneous learning process is implemented. This is very important. And if the hardware obeys all these specifications, if the students are going to listen instead of hearing, then we are implementing what is called as total guided learning process. This is very important, especially in language learning. They have to listen, they have to repeat, they have to imitate, they have to act, they have to think, they have to process, they have to put in a lot of inputs, because vocabulary is power. Instead of explaining hundreds of lines of information, or 20 lines or 10 lines or one line of information, they can just put it in one word. And such vocabularies will have impact. They are called power vocabularies. So he has to simultaneously grow all his needs. He has to enhance his vocabulary, he has to enhance his grammar, he has to enhance his expression. He has to have a very stylish expression. In fact, expression is the icing of the language, I can say. And with all that, they must be able to translate what they think simultaneously, because all of them come from vernacular medium. One of the most important observation, what I have found from our people, is they are fast learners. They are very, very fast learners, but they are not given the right technology. So this is a kind of technology which is highly imaginary, and I started working on the specification, and the birth of SKILLPHONES FX100 came into existence. I'll talk about SKILLPHONES FX100 utilities later. Now let me get into the analysis and the result, what happened in the methodologies. When you talk about methodology, methodology is basically like what kind of education system they are going to implement inside the classroom, how they are going to work it out within a time frame. So they are going to talk about time management, there is going to be a lesson plan, there is going to be an implementation plan. All that this has to be, really planned well. I understood the psychology of the teachers and the student and the methodology suitable for them to create a bridge. This is basically they have to create a bridge between them. If the student starts liking the teacher, they start liking the subject. The job of the school is over. This teacher must be given enough tools and technologies and knowledge about methodologies for them to impress the students. So this is what is the ultimate goal, right? Okay. If you think about an implementation plan, to enhance your candidates, especially adult candidates or school children. Today, more than intelligent quotient, where their academic scorings reflect their intelligent quotient. The industry and the world is considering what is called as emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is more of situation oriented. For example, how you are going to handle a conflict, how you are going to be humorous to maintain your emotions, how you are going to be very serious when you are going to have a deal closed. These are all emotion management. So the soft skill deals with a majority of emotion management, and the knowledge about these kinds of latest topics, I don't think the college professors or teachers, very few people have knowledge on all these subjects, and they are specialists who charge extraordinary charges for their seminars and things like that. So it's not like a common issue, but I want it to be to every candidate, prospective candidate who are looking in for a bright future. They must know how to manage their emotions. They must know how they can invoke their emotional intelligence. I'll tell you, Gandhiji, his anger was converted into India's democracy. It's anger management. Giving 100% productivity out of anger is Gandhiji. Mahatma Gandhi is the best example for us. So that is what is the best example of an emotional intelligence. The emotional intelligence will give special forces for people, and these forces are situation-oriented skills. A person must know how to understand his personality. He must know how to control his anger if he's a short-tempered person. He must know how to reflect his anger in a productive way if he's very good in his soft skills. So these are all totally, even the universities are just trying to formulate various syllabus. But the industrial requirement is urging us to do something very fast, So it's soft skill, it's emotional management, it's psychological understanding of a personality, it is self-analysis. So it's more than fluency, it's more than business English, it's more than international business communication. So much of talents are expected from today's manpower. If they have to compete for a 20,000 rupees salary straight away, day one after their degree, their financial independence is excellent. And how they have to make themselves ready, where they will go, how they will find out, what they have to read first of all to get ready for a multinational job. These are all the queries of the institutions and the students. I dedicated myself in doing a detailed research on how to give the students an excellent subliminal learning process at a very affordable cost. The institution can invest for a language lab and then can enhance the language lab into a campus English program, but that is not enough. That is the effort of the institution. But what is the effort of the teacher? And what is the special effort of the student? Unless the student is going to take a serious step on implementing soft skills in him, and he is going to meditate on it at least for 4 hours a day, it's not going to happen. So how is the entire program going to stimulate him to get into a habit of learning English and then learning a lot of information in English for him to get ready for a fantastic head start in his career? This is his personality traits which we have to tune. We have to program him for a learning habit. We have to give him a learning exercise inside the campus. He has to be reinforced on different media around his campus. And then he also must be motivated to do something at home. He must also have an extended learning process of the same subject. And then he is totally involved in the subject. And this is the task. And this is what will give 100% employability. The task seems to be like it's very tough, or it's a big task. No, if it is planned well and if it is approached well, the institution can be sure about 100% employability, not just because of their technical skills or functional skills. It will be just because of the soft skills. Imagine a student is going to learn Visual Basic. He's learning a few phrases, and these phrases have certain syntax, and it has got certain logics, and it behaves in certain patterns. You say go, it goes. You say go to line number, it goes to line number. So they control the words and they program, and they literally give a picture about something using a kind of assembly of words. This is what is programming. So people are very good in creating a picture about something. They are creative. We only have to inculcate them the habit of understanding themselves, their power, their vocabulary, whatever they already have, and we have to invoke them to use it. So ultimately it's going to be practice and drilling. Everything is like they have to talk, and they have to be motivated to talk. With this great responsibility, I thought I have to introduce campus English program, and then I also have to introduce a broadcast for education, especially giving soft skill through broadcast. It's very cheap, and everyone can afford to have a FM radio, and they need not worry about searching for useful and sensible content. So we have to give them useful and sensible content for their continuous learning program or extended learning program at home. We have to give a kind of a lesson plan inside the language lab, which will enhance the multi-level people to a homogeneous level. We have to see that once we implement this program in a small group, get the result, maintain the result till they finish their academic program. What is the entire syllabus? How it is formulated? It's very simple. It has to be step by step. Let us consider the last student of your institution. That is, his background is absolutely vernacular. He's from a village, and let me put him that he's going to be in the beginner class. No problem. There is no age, there is no sex for anyone to learn spoken English. SKILLPHONES method does not start with teaching grammar. Since I've been in software, I thought giving the students the phrasal approach will be much more personal, easy, and it is situation based, so they can understand it better. And this phrasal method, SKILLPHONES introduces it with 100% audiovisual content. See, the content is not from Indian speakers or me or anybody. The content is from native speakers. I have taken content from BBC and I am the authorized integrator for Cambridge University Press UK. So these are all people who will give content, and these content will come in different media. They will come in VCD, they will come in DVD, they will come in book and cassette, they will come in combinations of all these things. And my responsibility was to create a kind of subliminal learning process for all the students of all levels in a multi-level environment. And this has to be common for school students. This has to also be adaptable for college students. And it has to be very special for specialized students. Like for example, if it is nursing college, Cambridge has got fantastic material which will focus on the vocabulary and needs of the nursing college. It's called English for Medicine. It takes care of dentists, it takes care of doctors who are to go abroad and enhance their future. So we have to be very specific in providing the ultimate solution for the end user. End user is the student folks. SKILLPHONES comes with a variety of content. In fact, our resource library is one of the most exhaustive resource library, suitable more for our country. It's made for our country. It's not made for students from Uganda, or though my lab is already there in Tanzania. It's the market for me is the whole world. But it's made for India as a first step. The entire experiment was made in India and it's proven in India. So let me take care of my responsibility to give job-oriented enhancement for my people in my country. This is a great responsibility. And let me tell you the ideal student profile required today in a multinational company, with whatever career-oriented functional skills they have. They will have skills like they may be engineers, they may be software engineers, they may be civil engineers, or they may be arts and science students, whatever it is. Zoology, maths, chemistry, physics, it doesn't matter. It's all functional knowledge. It's on a specific subject. Apart from that, what is expected is fluency in English. Fluency means they must be able to convey their mind without any problem. It has to be casual. It has to have a kind of acceptable accent. The person must be able to express their feeling, in the language. And they must be able to translate their thought process exactly without any grammar mistake. That's fluency. They must know how to read, they must know how to write, they must know how to speak. That's not all. They must have career skills. For example, they must know how to attend an interview for a successful job. They must know how to select a company. They must know how to analyze themselves to suit to the best of the skills in demand. So they must have a personal understanding about themselves, every student, and they must have a thorough practice on career skills before they attend the first interview. Apart from that, they must also have exhaustive knowledge on international business process language. There are so many international business process jobs are going on. The students must be aware about their vocabulary used in such kind of operations. It gives confidence when they go for an interview. They must have almost like 250 soft skills. They must be completely aware about, or they must have an understanding about these kind of skill sets which they have to slowly imbibe in their character traits. otherwise I mean they'll have a definite change kind of experience when they get into the art of specializing their soft skills. You can see a transformation. So it's not just giving language, it's not just giving language lab, it's not just giving a campus English program, it is not just giving the hardware and software. It is the responsibility of me and the institution jointly talking about the employability, especially when it comes to colleges. When it comes to school also, I can say employability, because if a student can talk in English very well, and if they have the soft skills required, if they can communicate very well, the qualification doesn't matter. Even if they are 12th pass or fail, they can get a job. So we are talking about employability, and we are talking about employability of almost multi-level and multi-age group. It's possible if they have soft skill sharpened. The soft skills have to be sharpened. They must know what customer relationship management means. They must know what kind of different companies, how they have different modules of customer management, relationship management schemes. They have to get involved in such kind of research. You have to induce them to know more on them, more than imposing things on them. This is a very difficult exercise if it is not handled properly. And I'm talking about extended learning process, where the student, I'm expecting him to learn for at least 2 hours a day at home for, focusing on soft skills and English. And final year students, I don't, envisage any time for soft skill. By the time you come to third year, you must have finished all your requirements. You must know how to give good presentation skills. You must know how to give public speaking. You must know how to read fast and understand fast. Soft skill means it is not something which is not there. Soft skill means it's already there, but it's grouped into a special category so that you understand yourself, compare yourself with what is required. Anger management, okay, what is my level of anger management? What is required? How we can have better environment if we can handle anger. Time management, what is my time management? How it has to be altered to suit to the present needs, and what is my goal? How am I putting my goals into different modules? What is my learning plan? What is my keep fit plan? What is my parental plan? I mean, I have to spend time with my parents. If I'm if I have too many friends and I'm a social guy, I must also plan for my social time. If it is planned and if it is executed according to that plan, it is not waste of time, because you are serious about it. You are serious about it because you are expecting some kind of personal gain or some kind of psychological gain, so you involve in it. But plan. If it is not important, you are not going to plan it. So we have to give such kind of personality traits for the students. The students must know how to have good character, ethics. In today's soft skill also talks about etiquette in the internet. They must have a thorough knowledge on how to combine their existing knowledge with the information technology. That means they must have MS Office knowledge. They must know how to handle internet. They must know how to communicate through internet to the world. It's a skill. So soft skills can be listed like this. There are about 250 soft skills. It will appear very simple, but one has to be sure that he is sure about that knowledge. Then he is complete. It's so simple. Let me keep talking about my implementation plan later. Right now it's an ideal situation where the industry needs not hundreds, not thousands, lakhs and lakhs of people. And India, there is no problem for human capital. But how the institutions are going to take a serious step on adding value to this human livestock, whether it is going with physical growth or mental growth, is what we have to see in this 3-year time. Especially graduation has become a real tough subject for students. It's a confusion. Today a BSc computer science guy or a BE computer science guy or a MCA guy or a MSc computer science guy, all are graded same based on their communication skills and not on their functional skills. If they have one subject thorough and if they are in that niche, it is enough. If they are very good in Java, it's enough. But they have to be very good in communication also, equally good. This is the need of the day. So an ideal person must have all these character traits. This is the product specification. So a language lab or a campus English program or an extended learning program, all this must adapt to enhance the personality of the students with these traits. You know, they are all character traits. Stop. Let me start with so much of time to understand the concept of campus English program and to provide soft skills for employability. Okay. If I have to talk about the contents of the SKILLPHONES English Resource Library, it's got everything what you want. First of all, let me assure you, it's got everything what you want to enhance your student from beginner to professional level. Professional level, that's very important. Okay, see, we are thinking about their future, we are thinking about their employability. So I have to start up and I have a very complex kind of crowd. I have a very mixed kind of crowd, and most of them are from vernacular medium. So I just took BBC first, British Broadcasting Corporation. They are the people who have come with the content suitable for our country. It was, of course, the original material had a lot of censoring issues to deal with, and we have taken all the pains to see that it is absolutely censored for Indian culture, BBC content. And I have taken about 60 lessons from one topic. That's like, if you take English learning or any language learning, as a matter of fact, you have 60 different scenarios wherein you have to expose the participant to be confident about. And these 60 scenarios are like, if the candidate is in an interview, or he is in a post office, or he is in a railway station or airport, or in an immigration counter. A lot of different vocabularies are discussed in all these chapters. And this is presented from a world-class content provider from BBC. BBC's Follow Me and Look Ahead is a part of my complete, SKILLPHONES English Resource Library. Each has got about 60 lessons, and totally you have about 20 lessons. 20 lessons, each lesson figuring for about 20 minutes. So if you plan to implement this, say 2 lessons a day, you will finish the entire program in 60 days. And I can assure you fluency. At the end of this program, it is 100% audio visual. And the teacher has got all the liberty to interact with the student and to put her creativity and to induce the student to interact with the student, with the teacher. That's absolutely no problem. The technology will take care of it. But the content introduces frame by frame phrases. Frame by frame phrases is what is very important for today's learning. It makes the learner learn the skills without any effort, and that's our objective, and that's our goal, and that's what we want to do. Absolutely user friendly, absolutely effortless learning process. With all this, they will just from beginner, they will rise up to fluency level. Let's understand their progress. Let's understand how we are going to implement. We are going to implement 2 lessons a day in 60 days. they are going to reach a stage where they are going to have confidence in talking the vocabularies they already have. If you take 10th standard student, they have 800 vocabularies, very active vocabulary. If you take 11th and 12th, they have already about 3000 to 4000 active vocabulary. We only have to inculcate confidence in them that they can use all the vocabulary and they can talk. Please understand that our students are well versed with grammar when they finish their 10th standard. This is my statistics, this is my survey. And I am sure that we don't need to teach grammar when they have to learn speaking. Speaking is absolutely different, game altogether. Let's not confuse ourselves. Speaking is, if you take Russians, they have a different, method of approach. If you take Chinese, they have a different method of approach. If you take Mexicans, they have a different approach. Indians are the only people who are following approach which has been introduced 50 years back, because we have English for the last 50 years. Whereas China is just inviting English. So they take the latest methodology, latest technology. So what is the latest technology and what is the latest methodology? Technology I have, SKILLPHONES FX100 will take care of what your requirement is. But methodology is what has to suit to our particular, crowd of people. They have certain set of assets, they have certain sets of, negative traits which has to be overcome. They have to overcome the negative traits in the characters of soft skills and try to learn a language. Language learning is a mental attitude. I have found it's not nothing to do with teaching. If I desire to learn a language, I learn. So the job of the institution is not to teach a language, it is to preach a language and of course give them an environment to practice the language which they are preaching. And if they practice the language, they learn. The best method to give a crowd to learn swimming is first give them a swimming pool. People who have to learn swimming will learn swimming. People who want to show their talent in swimming will show talent in swimming. So a language lab is a place where people sit together and in groups, in learning circles, and try to learn English. If it is an English language lab, they have to sit together and they have to personally feel that they have learned something, and they have to feel that there is a measurable improvement every day and day by day. That's how it goes. No compromise. It's a mental attitude. So finally I found apart from audio-visual content given into the language learning environment or drilling environment, or what we call it as a language lab, I thought we have to give some kind of a neuro-linguistic programming. We have to program their nerve system. The whole memory is operated with the synapse and neurons. Neurons are places where they have memory cells, where the information or the vocabulary or the meaning or the content of information is registered, and synapse is the kind of nerves which creates the logics between the words. So it's the reason for them to have a kind of a word picture created. That's how anybody speaks, whether in their vernacular medium or in English medium. So when they come to English, it's just they have to remember all the vocabularies required, and it has to spontaneously come out of their 2400 nerves have to act on their mouth to talk the exact pronunciation. The brain has to activate. So I found that the best method to attack is neuro-linguistic programming. My research was considerable, extensive, detailed, focused, in-depth, and I thought, we just if you have one kind of methodology, suppose I give only audio-visual content and the teacher presence is also not required. If you put BBC content, absolutely it has got 120 lessons. Each lesson is 20 minutes. and it takes care of 60 scenarios reinforced twice, and each phrase is reinforced at least 4 times, so that adult learning, they won't imitate. If a child have to imitate say a word called fantastic, the group will say fantastic 100 times. Also, if they want to imitate, you can ask them to write preposition, but you cannot do all these things with the adult. Adult has got more disabilities to study or learn compared to a child. NeuroLinguistic programming in education is a very challenging task altogether, and unless we get into some kind of programming these people, enhanced learning process, accelerated learning process, focused learning process, and this is this is something new apart from the syllabus. We have to really so they have to specialize on the soft skills on a step-by-step program. Let us start with the inside the language lab, how scenario is. Inside the language lab, as I told you, it starts with for students from beginner level, they have to reach fluency level. This is the first stage. After that, from fluency level, they have to reach command and then professional level. So the resource library must have enough content for the teacher to implement a step-by-step learning process for the students to be enhanced from beginner to professional level. BBC 120 lessons takes care of fluency level. We also have another content from BBC which is integrated as a part of the resource library. It's called Starting Business English. And Business English, of course, the entire business operation exposed in this is about 15 years back. Whatever resource material were available, that's what was exposed. But still it is considerably a fantastic business language which the students will be enjoying learning. So Business English is one part of it. These are all 100% audio visual content, enabling the student and the teacher, especially the teacher, to implement total guided immersion learning process. Success of a language lab. The student will be listening. I think you have understood the hardware of SKILLPHONES Learning Station completely. The students will be listening and using this audio visual content. The exercise is very simple. It's 4 or 5 different tasks which they have to combine. Especially for drilling adults, SKILLPHONE FX100 with BBC assures the institutions to have the candidates reach fluency level in a targeted time. I can assure. Absolutely no problem. 90 days, systematic learning process, continuous learning process. Of course, with the extended learning process, which I am going to talk about it later. The language lab, drilling exercise is more than enough. In this 120 lessons, they will be exposed to somewhere around 500 phrases. Sorry, it's about 5,000 phrases, not 500, and they will be exposed to about 5,000 important active vocabularies also. It's like amazing volume of information goes inside their brain, and the presentation is 100% audio visual, so that they confirm the scenario also. Whenever they want to use the language, it's very easy for them to match the similarities of scenario and use the phrases used. Tenses is not a problem. Using adjective is not a problem. Using verb is not a problem. But using combinations of all these, objects of the language is an issue. That is where we need to give them continuous drilling, and that is what the hardware SKILLPHONES FX100 does. With that hardware, which encourages the enthusiasm of the student, with BBC content, I can assure you that they will reach a status where they are confident about talking. Once the confidence level is reached, then the fluency comes. You only have to give an opportunity for them to talk. And in fact, SKILLPHONES methodology demands a lot of interactive activities, which comes as a package for the teachers. Okay, is that all in the resource library? It's not that all. We also want to give extended learning process. We'll talk about extended learning process in detail later. But now I would like to tell you that the teacher's content is also integrated with the SKILLPHONES resource library. Whatever the teacher has to learn to teach, I have taken every step, because we know the limitations of the teacher. No, there is a great demand for English language teachers. So we need to create English language teachers also. That's the end of it. Thank you. Bye.